you would be in the midst of their decisions. God, I ask that you would just be with those that are here presenting business, God, that you would just, Lord, give peace and understanding to all that is going on. Lord, we just thank you and we praise you in your Son, Jesus Christ's holy name, I pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, review the minutes. Have any questions or comments on it?
I do not.
I move to approve.
We also had a question, Krista.
Yes,
You'll need to explain it to us on the minutes back in April 3rd.
yes, I requested, the ordinance stated that it was simply a vacate of a flat. Now, on the original application, they had requested vacate of a flat and a rezone to a B. However, the rezone was tabled and then after that withdrawn. So the ordinance was only for vacate of the mechanic subdivision plat.
Did we sign that ordinance?
Yes,
I asked to get a copy of it. Kristen's getting a copy.
Okay.
So if we need, we can swing back to that.
Yeah,
We'll get a copy of
When
that.
it gets back here, we'll review that.
okay, thank you.
Any questions on claims?
I didn't have any.
Okay.
I have one. Question came up to me, the pizza party for dispatch, April 13th and 14th. Question about pizza delivered to dispatch, April 13th and 14th.
That was for dispatch week. We took that out of our donation fund.
Okay. Just, someone asked me about this morning, so you need to clarify. You have friends at the sheriff's office, it sounds like.
I got friends in lots of places.
Wow.
I really don't know.
Motion to approve claims.
So moved. Second.
Todd Howe.
Well, I'd like to have him start off. So report from the county. We're out, continue out there mowing, patching, berming as well, which is going down gravel roads, getting the dirt off the side of the road so that the water can shed the side of the road. Then we go back and grade the road, and then we go back and stone the road versus putting stone and then getting all that stone taken off the road, because we do get a little bit of stone when we do that. We're still doing bridge maintenance in the county on our own. I've still got the countywide bridge inspection going on. I think it's a couple of weeks this month, and they should be completed. Then they'll basically load that into the web portal for BIAS and upgrade that. Then we'll get a report on their findings. One thing I need to get in regards to the community crossing grant, I need to get the resolution letter, which I've talked to Chad about. I'll send him the information where to get that. I'll do the legal ERC document that needs to be done. And then I need to get a signed document of the minutes appointing Jeremy and I, so I can send that all to NDOT so that they can go on contract for the community crossing grant for next year. School signs, I did order those. The sign is going to have school, 25 mile an hour, when children are present. I'll have end zone on both ends. I ordered 3 of those just so I have one on the repair. So those are ordered. They'll probably be in about 4 or 6 weeks. We do right now, I haven't mentioned this, but I've been getting several calls. I've got a closure out there on 200 South and 700 West due to a culvert pipe down there that is basically, what's the word I'm looking for? It's starting to fail, so we got to replace that. That's a special order pipe. It should be in any time. Once we get that in, we're going to make that repair so we can open that road.
It's David Mars, is not there?
Yes,
David Mars?
yeah. I know that the barricades out there, they get moved, they run through the barricades, they've broken them. So we try to keep them off the farm ground because they're going out in the field. We're doing other projects out in the county that require a 1-day closure for pipes. Normally we work with dispatch to let them know of those closures, when we close it, when we open it. A couple things that I guess I want to bring up on the 200 East Road closure. I know you guys are getting banged up. I get banged up every single day in regards to that. And I will do whatever you guys want me to do. Okay. But the two things that I want to make aware, if we're going to open that up for local traffic, we will not be reimbursed for any damage that's done on that road. Okay. And number two, what is the liability of the county if there's an accident on that road, head-on collision or something?
Wouldn't the, I'm just shooting from the hip here, but wouldn't the liability be the same if we're?
Yes, it would be.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't change the fact that the drivers are gonna be the ones at fault now. I mean, county doesn't get sued just because you guys have bigger pockets, but it doesn't change the liability scenario in my mind.
Well, I guess the only thing I mentioned, we're gonna stagger road closed barricades just for local. So cars are gonna have to drive past the barricade. All right, and I don't know where that sets. Okay.
My thoughts are north of 46, it stays closed. And I would open south of 46. I just don't think semis you can make 200 onto Base Road with that electric pole sitting on the corner. But I think opening it, that would alleviate some of the business traffic problems. They could take 200, come back in on 421 for the Levensteins and Oakleys. That's my thoughts.
Are we having barricades moved as much on the north side as the south side?
But
It's constant, right?
both ways, both ways.
We have been hitting every morning about 5 o'clock, checking those barricades, or replacing them, but again, they're still getting moved.
Yeah, my maintenance guy or my mechanic, he comes from Napoleon every day, and he closed for all last week. And the week before that, every day he came through, the barricades were moved both sides of the road. Okay, one day he sat there, after he moved the barricade, he said, I'm just gonna sit here for a minute. And about 15 minutes later, a truck comes pulling out, a blue F-150. A man jumped out of the truck, was getting ready to move the barricade. Tom turned the lights on in his truck, and that guy got startled and said, I don't know if I'd do that. He got in his truck and peeled off. So they're getting moved first thing in the morning. Okay, and then in the afternoon, I understand it's a hardship on all the locals, the businesses. But if anything, it's really all about public safety. So I'll do that. I don't think I've been seeing as much semi-traffic. Okay, I think they're actually taking 850, the official detour. But I think some of them have to come. I know some semis coming down to Levensteins have to come down. I think they still have to do some deliveries at Oakley's as well. I know I went and talked to Bev. I went and talked to all those over there. Let them know, but like I said, I'm tired of getting beat up.
When they move them just completely out of the way.
They
So the
move them.
semis can go down at any time they want.
Yes.
So the thought is if we stagger them,
So a
the
semi.
cars would go around them and not move them completely in the semis.
I don't think they've been moved. I've not seen them moved completely. There's always half the road that's blocked off. And in reference to Mr. Kerr's comment as well, if they're staggered, that would prevent the semi-traffic anyway, right? As long as cars, trucks, and ambulances can get by,
Correct.
that would seem reasonable.
But one thing that you will find that if semi sees traffic, they may come on down and try and go that way, and then they're gonna move the barricades so they get through. There's no place to turn around.
But that's already happened.
Yeah.
We haven't prevented anything at this point.
I came in late, so I didn't get to hear the very first part of it, but I think the biggest problem with this whole thing is if you take 46 to go out to Levenstein's, which is where I work and own, there is no detour sign that says to go anywhere at all. If you come back through, from Batesville, there is no detour sign whatsoever to get anywhere. It is up to every individual that drives on the road, their discretion to get to where they need to go and how to get there. If there was a detour sign that said, take 350 coming from Batesville over to Base Road and come down, and coming from Main Street, a detour that would say, take Base Road over, that would eliminate all of that extra traffic off 200. And if you open 200 up over towards 100 and then the staggered, everybody knew that's the way they were supposed to take that's out of town. It would be only local traffic that would take that short distance off of 200. Our business has suffered quite a bit because of it. I understand the bridge has to be done. We know that, but we've seen a lack of business quite a bit since it's happened. So it would be beneficial if there was more information out there for individuals, whether they're from this community or whether they're coming to this community, to have some kind of detour signs. There is none.
Do we have those tags?
That'd be NDOT's postings. Okay, and I have not been I haven't come all the way from,
Or from Batesville to get to Levenstein's, they just stay on 46.
And we put a sign up. We went and purchased a sign, stuck it on the side of the road that said, roads open to Levenstein's, to try to help that. And the other day, we had a sheriff's deputy, I'm assuming, that pulled over one of our semis that was coming this way to deliver to us and asked us why he was driving down that road. It's obvious it had Ohio Valley flooring on it, and we're a flooring company. I mean, I don't know why that was done. And I realized that it makes it hard on the customers. It really does. We're just trying to get people to our store. And the better we can do that, the better we can develop some kind of a plan, which that should have been done right off the bat for businesses. There's just more than Levenstein's down there. There's Bev's, there's Oakley's, that we're just getting kind of left out on the side to figure it out for ourselves.
But you understand that this is not a Decatur County
No, I do.
highway issue.
I do
It's an
understand. It's a
NDOT,
state,
but we're
right.
catching all the grief.
I know that.
Or Todd is.
I know, but can't the state take this information back to the state and say, there's no detours here?
And in 60 days, you'll see some results
Yeah.
coming in.
And by then, you're gonna be halfway done with the project but that's just our feeling on it. We really have been hurt in our business because a lot of times we're just a retail business. Some people just drive by and see us and stop in, which is great, and maybe do some business, but when they can't even drive by, we get calls all day long. How do we get to your place? There is no detour sign that says to get back onto 46. You can drive it and try it. There is no detour whatsoever.
is that all the way up to Batesville?
Yeah, coming from Batesville, there's no detour. All it says is bridge out.
Yeah.
And I get that, it is out, but it doesn't say to get back onto 46, detour here. It has you use your GPS, and our ladies inside the store put on their phone the GPS to get people to our store, and it says that Levenstein's is on the other side of the bridge. So it's saying just come right up 46, right up Main Street, and you'll get there. If they're doing it, any other people that put it in their phone are gonna do the same thing, and they can't get there.
Why don't I've got a contact for the inspector that's on there. She's been sitting at the highway department. I'll talk to her, see if we can get a flashing sign or something posted down there at 850. I know Jim had talked to me about putting a sign along State Highway. And as far as I know, that's the state's right away, but I told him I'd go ahead and put one up, and if they tell you to take it down, take it down. But I know there's been other postings on, I think there's a guy that sells meat, and he puts it out by an NDOT's right away. So I will get with NDOT and see if we can get a posting put down again.
Yeah, that'd make it, I just think for the public, it'd make a big difference.
Yeah.
And a lot of the out of towners, we do a lot of business, just not in Greensburg.
Yeah.
All over, and it's just beneficial for our customers. We don't mind answering the phone, don't mind telling them, but when they miss that turn at 350 over there by Helmets, there is no sign that says turn to go toward back to 46. And it's just up to people to use their GPS, and there's some older people that don't know how to use their phones that can't do GPS. That we get a lot of customers that just can't get there. And we try to talk them through it. So that'd be a big help.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get that.
What kind of enforcement actions is the sheriff's department able to take if they find somebody traveling on 200 East right now?
We could be writing the, disregarding the government, traffic control signal. Frankly, we haven't been writing any lines, just open verbal warnings. We have been hitting it semi-large warnings and meetings though.
But
Appreciate that you fellas have, the bridge has to be replaced, like Jim said, and I know you guys are limited in what you can do as well. Just in addition to the commercial aspect of it and the inconvenience, which we can take the whatever detour all day long. There is a time and a cost with the time as well, but also our access to emergency services, especially as we're getting into summer months, is a concern as well. So I was thinking that staggering the things on 200, both north and south, would allow for ambulances to get through, or heaven forbid, any of us need to drive to a hospital or that sort of thing. I understand the concern about semis as well, and I agree if they shouldn't be on there and topple over, but I don't know at what point we talk about they could still get out and move the signs. I guess that's true. But at what point do we say it's kind of their responsibility, or we put concrete barriers out there and stagger those? Those are our concerns, the access to emergency services, as well as the cost of the inconvenience, in addition to Jim's direct commercial impact. So appreciate what you guys do, and I want to know we're all on the same team. Just want to express those ideas and see if those would be considered reasonable.
Todd, did you, I think you talked to EMS and fire when this was going in, if you could just provide some of the information that either you had told those emergency services or information that you got from them when this was going on.
Yeah, we pretty much coordinated before with the fire department and emergency services that if they need, that was the whole thing, that was gonna be open to emergency services. They would have to take the time to get out and move the barricade to get where they wanted, but for the most part, nobody lives on that road. There's not a house on it. There's a little shack or barn or cabin or something, but for the whole closure, emergency services was aware that they could move them. So I talked to the fire department, Jim's brother, they went out there and did a time on it, and it added 5 minutes to their time. So we basically, everybody agreed that we'd open them up for emergency services, but we wouldn't be able to be there because sometimes we don't get the call on that, dispatch does. So
A resident wouldn't know that, though. They would have to go on down to which adds another 3 or 4 miles to the trip. Which, if you got, heaven forbid, an injured child or loved one.
well,
If we're necessary, I'm good. It just doesn't seem necessary. Is my point. It just seems like it's still reasonable to open that up. I'm just not in the various discussions I've had. It still seems reasonable to me that it be opened up. I'm not seeing why it's necessary. And if it's not, then that's what I'm asking. Can we go ahead and open that up?
My thoughts that, we try to close it completely to keep all traffic off, so the semis would try to get out it anyway. It's failing. Everybody just moving them out of the way anyway. I think the solution is to stagger them, continue to try to control for semis. It'd be nice if we had a no semi truck sign on that road that we could put there. I don't know how long it would take to get one of those, or put something up where there's no semi traffic on it.
well, I don't have enough of them. So I think I might have a couple of them, says no semis, but
The real concern was the north side of the road though, not the south side for the semis, correct? And we're trying to avoid the semi truck traffic there just because of the road damage, but the pole on the north side, northwest side is the real concern. That's really coming off the base road onto 200, where we're really concerned about that. I think if we put the no semi truck signs on those two sections, and stagger those, like I said, I don't think we're solving the problem we wanted with our first round, in my opinion. I think staggering for local traffic and then trying to keep the semis off of it is our second best guess. Unfortunately, nobody's obeying the signs, they're just doing whatever they want.
EMA might have some electric signs that we can put up temporarily with no semi.
I'm sorry.
EMA's got some signs that might be able to help us with.
Okay.
Yeah, never thought about, there's some of that.
Two.
That we can program up, put on, says no semis through this road.
Well, they're still, I think they're still gonna move them on, whether it's on the north or the south. So, are you guys wanting to stagger them on both sides?
That's the way I'm leaning.
That's where I'm at too. Let local traffic through both sides, add the signage if we can. And then I would ask the sheriff that if we catch a semi on that road, or if there's an accident where they do something and they drop off, we write them up. I mean, if they're on there and they hit the pole, they do whatever, they just get hammered.
Okay. Clear. I can do whatever you want.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So you want me to stagger the barricades, see if I can get some no semi signs and put on both sides of it.
Work with EMA, I think they can program those and kind of get them to a little
Okay.
more. But try to help do that on 200.
I'll get with them about maybe putting a,
Yeah, and seeing if they've got some better detour signs up on their end of no semis past this point for 350 or even up at 850 both.
well, but then there again, they're coming down the gym, that's the only way.
I don't know, but I did ask on Thursday or Wednesday, there was a shot truck who came. And he did tell me that he went on down to 850, tell me that he thought they would do that. He came Base Road, which I told him, go down to New Point, come back around, come back. It's a whole lot easier to drive through Greensburg. But he said he went down Base Road and went all the way to 850 and came up 850 and came back because he said that turn at 350 was a hard turn. Right. So, I mean, again, if you want detours for semi-traffic, maybe the detour ought to be all the way to 850 if they take Base Road. But again, I appreciate more than you know if you open up 200 to make it easier for our customers. But still, the state needs to do something with the detour because there is nothing that tells you where to go at all. And that should have been the first thing they should have done was put some kind of detour sign up to tell everybody which way to go. Might have eliminated this whole conversation because if there were more information, probably wouldn't have had as much. But
I'll reach out to NDOT, see if I can get that taken care of.
If they don't have a detour on Base Road at 350, telling people to jump back on. Taking Base Road all the way to 850.
I think it makes it easier because that's a much wider point there at 850.
I'll see if I can get that coordinated and report back to you. Okay. And then the last thing I need to mention, that the county bids for Decatur County for stone, pipes, aluminum structures, fuel, the bid is due in by the May 12th. At, I think it's 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. what I have on there. It's in the a.m. that's due. Yeah, open them on the 15th. And then I'm getting ready to also put together a bid for the asphalt for local patching and paving and also the community crossing grant. So that'll be two separate bids.
Anything else?
No, you don't have anything for me?
You hit what I had. Coming back there, Mark, if there's nothing else for Todd. Here is that ordinance question about the minutes from May 3rd, 22/18. So it has in here on that ordinance that it's going to be rezoned as B2. Back on the findings, it just says vacate, but the actual ordinance itself looks like it says to be rezoned as B2.
That's the application. This is the application. The ordinance
Okay.
says favorable recommendation.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. That's fine. We can correct that then.
So let the minutes of April 3rd show that it was not a rezone application. application by Bowman's. It was a ordinance to vacate only.
Do you, when they move to withdraw part of their application, is there paperwork that goes along with that?
No, it's verbal.
Can we change that? Can you change that so that there's something that's reflected to go along with it? So that we don't have something that looks like an application is coming in, as like in this case where they were looking to vacate part of it and have it rezoned, and then the ordinance itself doesn't look like it's, I guess, reflecting what the application itself was.
All right, yeah, we can have them start something attached
Perfect.
to the application.
Gentlemen, have anything else for me?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Did we do payroll?
So I'll just.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you listening because
Thanks for coming, guys.
it really is important to a lot of people. I know some people on this other side, it doesn't make as much difference, but for us over there, it does for our businesses and I think for the local people. So you guys do a great job. Todd, you do a great job. I just appreciate you listening.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Janet, do you have us approving payroll? No. Okay, we need to jump back and get that. Payroll claim. April 28th.
I'd move to approve the,
Second.
Kenny.
You done?
She doesn't know what she is.
Good morning, fellas. Since our last inspection last week, I did 24 inspections. I'm not sure how many Krista did the week that I was gone. We had 12 new building permits and plan reviews. Had one red tag the week that I was out. Krista called me to verify that they needed a permit to install exterior set of steps and a handrail to an announcer's booth at Ball Diamond. The builder required the permit, and upon inspection, I noticed that the bottom posts were not securely installed, so I had the builder set 2 new posts in concrete to stabilize the steps. I also had him cut off screws that were penetrating through the purlins in the dugout roofs, which were very easily accessed. High schoolers would probably jump up and get their head stuck on a 3/4 inch long screw. So he ground those all off, and those were removed with a magnet. And I sent 2 letters on a nuisance ordinance. I have not heard back from the owner or occupants yet. I emailed you guys those. That's all I've got.
Question?
The nuisance letter, the Smith residence, right? Okay.
I don't have anything.
Patty?
Hiring report for April, we hired 4 employees, 2 part-time seasonal employees for the Parks Department, 1 for the detention center, and 1 for 911. Presently, we have 3 jobs posted on the website, 1 seasonal for the Park Department, 1 part-time for the Health Department, and 1 full-time juvenile probation officer. The other thing is May 15th, it's been sent out to all employees that there is a PERF meeting. And there's a presentation at 9 a.m. It is not mandatory, but if anybody wants to attend, they can come, and that will be held here in the commissioner's room. So there'll be a presentation by the consultant, Tom Shable. And then there are individual appointments, and I sent out emails on that, and people should have received an email if you had asked for an individual appointment. You have a time set. I do have about 3 or 4 openings if anybody wanted to still get in on that and meet with a consultant about her, just let me know.
Hey, Patty, along with that, I had a gentleman resign. Do you need folks to hire him for the highway department?
Once his final days,
I'm
I
sorry,
give you 2 weeks' notice.
he actually gave me 1 week. But left on good terms. Yeah, I thought we got together and did a description. Okay.
Anything for Patty?
Nope.
Facebook, Decatur County.
So back on March 20th, before Tony had been elected by caucus, I had brought it up, and Mark and I had a brief discussion about it. I think Mark had voiced his opinion on Facebook, and now that Tony has been elected, I wanted to get Tony's viewpoint on Facebook. It's something that I wanted back on the agenda again, so that if there is information about a road closure, an election site, or just something that is more spontaneous news that wouldn't be included in a county website, which I believe the county website would be more for your departments, what phone numbers you're going to be calling, who you need to go and see to get something done. So I just wanted Tony's opinion on that before I move forward any further with it.
I like the Facebook page idea. I don't go to the sheriff's department webpage at all, but their Facebook feed jumps into my stuff all the time with road closures or warrant Wednesdays and stuff like that. So it's kind of force feeding information to my page when I'm going to it and looking through stuff. So I think making that available to the agenda is another way to be transparent and kind of get the information out there to people who are still using that platform. I have questions, obviously, just like everybody else, on comments, no comments, the legalities of some of those things. But I think on its face, it can be utilized as a good way to even get feedback. If you take the time, you want to read the comments and stuff that's going on the page without commenting, it gives you opportunity to get feedback from the people who are commenting through it, to at least hear their opinions and try to find something that's valuable in the decision-making process that we'll have to kind of go through. Kind of agree with Mark on some of the who's going to look over it, who's going to control it, who's going to pay attention to it, how to control those things, but that's more of a backside question than an inception question.
Okay. I'll start working on a policy and looking at some of the details then for how to handle some of the comments, because that is a big concern for me as well. And we can talk about it more in the future and see if it's something that we actually want to jump on when we get more on that end of things.
Sure.
Morning. So let's start off with the water softener, if we may. I sent you an email, a quote we have from QPH. They did a lot of work in the building when it was built. And as I explained in the email I sent to you, we spent just short of $6,000 last 2 years in repairing valves. And having had QPH look at this, they believe this water softener will correct that problem. So with that being said, I'm going to have to table this because we reached out to at least one other company. Again, they had an impact in the building. They declined to respond to our request. We had a phone conversation with Commissioner Blodgett last week. He needed to meet with someone else. We reached out to him. He's coming tomorrow to take a look at that and give us an estimate. So with that being said, though, while I'm here, I would like to discuss, if we may, some funding mechanism for that if possible. Yeah, I would suggest the special jail tax because it is going to upkeep the building. And if we go to QPH quotes, it's $55,000, so it's a sizable amount of money. So just a suggestion on my part for that, unless you have any other suggestions.
Is this going to be a salt
It is.
solution?
It is. And we're working on getting a quote on monthly maintenance if you will, so we don't have that yet.
Cause that will amount to about that amount of money a year.
Greg, our maintenance guy, is working on getting that quote.
Have you not contacted Freegee on a,
This was one we did contact, and they did not respond.
they have an unsolved? Have you talked to any other jails to see what they might be using?
No, I have not. Although the architect, Mel Voss, was down 6, 7 weeks ago, he went to tour our building, and he acknowledged they had this problem in one other facility they built. So again, we can table it at this point. Then pending tomorrow's walkthrough with this other contractor.
Yeah, I'm in favor of tabling.
I'd like to see the numbers between
Sure.
another bid that could come in, and then also the numbers for what we're looking at there for how much the salt is gonna cost for
Sure.
your monthly maintenance.
That's not a problem.
Are we doing the whole building, or are we sectioning off different parts?
The only part that's sectioned off currently is the kitchen.
Okay.
They've got their own water softener. Obviously, that won't take care of the whole building.
So this $55,000 system's for the rest of the jail.
Correct.
Does that include the laundry, or is the laundry on the kitchen side?
It is not. It does include the laundry. It is currently not part of the kitchen.
Okay, yeah, that's, I think some more bids, and then I don't know much about the non-salt water systems.
I will check into that.
I'll certainly be interested to see what the maintenance and upkeep for those are, for long-term expenditures. And see if it's a comparable system in quality, but whether over a 10-year period, which one costs more, which one costs less. Sometimes the initial install costs more than on the longer term maintenance type thing, whether the non-salt, go over 10 years is cheaper than the salt one at the beginning.
So again, 3G was a part of the building in the beginning anyway. That's why we got it in, whatever reason they declined this one. So yeah, I'll move forward with that. Item number 2, if you're ready. Landscaping, particularly the shrubs around the building. I don't know if you've been by there, but those shrubs have not been tended to since we moved in. It's looking kind of bad. And we talked to 3 different people, landscapers, and only one returned the quote. The other 2 really weren't interested. I presented to you in this email 2 different choices. One of which is to remove everything, just put river rock down, so there's no future maintenance cost. Or if you decide to trim them, and there's an estimate in there for that as well. So I'm just seeking your input on what you would like to do with that.
Can you just walk us through what your costs were there, Bill?
Sure. For the, to remove the shrubs, there are approximately 60 shrubs, and there's about 28 other plants that need trimmed as well. So to remove all the shrubs, put river rock down, that estimate was $5,278.14. To trim everything and put new mulch down, that was at a cost of $3,738.79. Again, my concern is just future maintenance as we go down the road.
Was there been any conversation about community service work to do that, or utilizing inmate workers?
We will not be able to utilize inmate workers simply because of the security for them. I have not spoken to community corrections because frankly, I want the job done right if we're gonna do it. I want professionals that know what they're doing, in my opinion.
Is the 3,078 one time per year, like you're only trimming them once?
Correct, maybe 1 time a year.
Is that just for the stuff up by the building, or does it include the row out over?
The south side.
South side of the property?
Does not include that south side. This is strictly around the building itself. I didn't realize how many shrubs there were there until I went out started walking the trail. There's a lot of shrubs out there.
And south side shrubs have to stay because that's part of the landscape agreement with the neighbors.
And then that is gonna be cleaned up at some point. It's not as bad as it's around the building at this point, but
And currently, the rest of the grounds maintenance is being done by,
mowing is done by our maintenance crew.
not a project he wanted to tackle.
Yeah. Frankly, we keep him pretty busy as it is.
I would like to try to see if we can get some kind of community service work to do some of that. I think keeping the landscaping is important. I like having the sheriff's department to look good, be something worth, pulling up into and looking right. $3,800 a year is to do that, but see value in it. If we can find a cheaper alternative, I like that option. I don't like just taking it away, because like I said, there was quite the investment to put the landscaping in to begin with. And I think there's value to that as far as appearance looks.
I will speak with community corrections if that's what you want.
I think that's a good idea.
Karen?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, I was just trying to think how many people are doing community service now. I mean, just from my other job, I know how low it really is. That's only been my experience, though. I don't know if more people are on community service hours here than what we have.
It's a widely used portion of the diversion program Decatur County runs. Almost all of them come out carrying some mandatory load.
Oh, that's why I said that's different from how our,
At least last time really wrapped up in that. They
I know
were
we used to
still-
use it a lot out of Parks and Rec.
yeah, I think that'd be a good use for it.
We used to use it a lot, but I rarely get anyone coming in to do community service work anymore. But we did used to have them a lot at the office. I don't know what the alternative is for them, where they're going, if they're being sent out, but they're not, they really come in by department.
Maybe good, worth looking at. I mean, if they've got the service to do, and we've got some.
I did have one last week, but that was the first one I've had in quite some time.
This is gonna be a pretty big job to tackle, obviously. And if you do community service workers, which I'm not opposed to, we're going to provide tools, if that's the case as well. Which we don't currently have.
We'll see if the option's available first and see if it's still there, and then we may be able to come up with a way to get some tools from people who already have them, borrow them across some agencies and see if we can spread that expense out.
I'm okay with that.
I will check with community corrections. There's another estimate there from Banks Lawn Care for spraying the yard. $1,650 twice a year for a total of $3,300. I'd like approval to do that so we keep our grass looking nice.
Is that for the whole property or just?
It's for the whole property. And I can pay that, I consider it, so choose.
Say my initial thoughts on that was, again, up around the building, around the parking area, 100 feet, 150 feet, that's real visible. Keeping that real nice, but to do, I don't know how big that lot is. It was
I'm not sure what the size is, but it's a large lot.
6, 8 acres, 5 acres, something. I think just doing up something around the building would be more economical. We could pay for it out of commissary. It's really up to you whether you want to pay to do the whole thing or just the stuff up by where the public can see the most.
I could give it with the banks and see if they want to do it that cost-wise.
Yeah, I'm fine if you want to pay it out of commissary though.
Okay.
Next.
Last, you should have received a letter from Ashton Wilson where we're requesting an ordinance. Now that we have our body cams, we expect to be getting some frequent requests, freedom of information requests for the body cam video. Common charge is $150 to release that. We just want an ordinance to put that $150 we collect into our training fund, continuing education fund. So we'll need an ordinance to place that money in there so we can turn around, spend it on our training.
Sheriff, you know a good attorney that can write that ordinance for you?
I know some attorneys.
Want to rephrase it for me right now?
I think that's a good idea if you ask him real nice.
I will ask really, really nice.
And you said that's a common rate.
Correct. There is some labor in getting that video prepared, send it out, because we will redact it. We will redact faces, license plates, so it's a little labor intensive to get that out.
Sure, it takes special software too.
It does, yes.
Yeah,
I think it's a good idea.
I will get with an excellent attorney, ask him to draft that ordinance, and we'll go from there.
That's a good start.
Thank you very much.
Danny, before we leave these topics, do I remember that the special purpose jail tax had been lowered here recently?
Pardon, I can't.
Was the special purpose jail tax lowered here recently?
No.
It was not?
No.
Okay. I know there was a discussion for it, I just didn't remember if it was or not.
We haven't lowered it.
Okay. That was just, I wanted to touch base on that before, if we were talking about funding for the water softeners, if it was potentially coming out of that pool of money, if we were going to have enough funds in there or not.
That'll have to come before the council too, before it gets approved.
Thank you.
We have a request for use of the covered bridge for a wedding. September 2nd, that's Labor Day weekend. So if we approve this, you'll have to get some bridge, you have to close that for that day.
Okay.
Covered bridge. There was, however, some vandalism, I think, Friday night. Kids, and the way I understand, the people having the wedding want permission to clean that up. So
She said, I don't know how it works with the bridge, but she said a sander, that's what she would do.
That was kind of a concern for me, sanding it.
I think typically county highways went down and painted. I don't know if you're aware of that or not.
Oh.
At your department. Interior, here's what happened.
So I'd like to make sure the sheriff kind of gets a hold of that too.
Yeah, you need
There's names and dates on it.
to. Nice. Yeah. They identified themselves.
Yeah, they certainly identified someone in the
Yeah,
process.
whether it was her or not, I don't know.
They're in love. Pronounced old
As I said earlier, you cannot register that.
Just the advertising.
But we do have requests, the insurance form is here. It's for the two new commissioners, it has been done often in the past, so it's not anything out of the ordinary. Wedding and bridge.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I move to approve.
Second.
Patty, I would tell them that we'll let them know about it. I don't think we'll do any sanding.
Maybe power wash.
Historic bridges, there's
Is that just white on the inside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So you would like the highway department to go out there and,
I think the sheriff needs to do a little investigating first before you,
Raise the evidence.
yeah, before you destroy the evidence.
yeah, okay. So do I need,
You got until Labor Day weekend anyway. It's not something that has to be done
okay,
this week.
all right.
You just need to coordinate that. Pardon?
Thing was on the.
Oh, I'm sorry, Royer, wasn't it Royer?
Yes.
Trina? Trina?
Trina Royer.
R-Y-E-R. September 2nd. Brian, you have anything for us?
Just a quick couple updates. The Ready to 2.0 funding managed to make it through. I think we're waiting for the government to sign it. With that, the RDA has been formed and we will be putting together that application once the final all pieces fit in. The RDA is doing well. We're going to get our IRS number and everything like that, move forward and make sure that all those projects that we applied for the Ready 1.0 get funded and move forward. As far as recruitment, we continue to be busy. We have some key meetings this week. Probably have more on that. And then broadband ready announcement should be this week or the next. We got all the information to them, so just kind of waiting on that. So we can be declared a broadband ready committee. Myself with Rick Noggy did most of the talking, but we presented to the RNC this past week on their broadband considerations there. So we hope to kind of keep moving those forward, considering what funds are coming down from the infrastructure bill and such, to make sure that we get kind of ready. Lastly, another point that we're looking at is childcare. We'll be sending out a childcare survey to a lot of the businesses in town to kind of assess the needs. There's a grant out through the Indiana Economic Development Association for some additional help that we won't qualify for. That's by the end of the week, so get that application in.
Thanks.
Oh, and then we do have the OpEx on May 10th. I'm sorry. Justin's been working really hard. We have, I think, 35 businesses. It's going to be all the seniors in the county and Greensburg School of Sports. But just to showcase internships, job growth, just the jobs in general, just to show what the kids, what sort of opportunities there are.
Anything, no?
Good morning. As I reported at the last meeting, we have the Love Local card, which supports local businesses here in the county. And that card will be available for purchase by the end of this week. So you'll see more social media content coming out on that. That is a partnership between the Chamber of Commerce and Main Street Greensburg. But we already have probably 6 to 8 businesses on board that have already opted into the program. Any business is welcome to participate. You do not have to be a member of the chamber. And then gift cards can be purchased online starting Friday of this week. So we'll have more information coming out, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, thanks. I do have an estimate here to get the east tower windows repaired. They're leaking pretty badly up there in Chad's area from AGM. $2,330. That's okay with that?
Yes,
They're typically done already. Motion to that effect. Thank you. There's nothing else?
Do we have an update on the pool?
Well, Brian just left, but
Well, just the
we
current
actually
condition
did
of
peel
our.
the liner back last week, and Bill Metz joined us for that, and we do have substantial concrete damage in the deep end underneath the liner. We were able to just pick it up by the handfuls and it looked like gravel. So we have that right now, and we're still waiting on ways to fund and how we might proceed with in the future, so we don't have that set just yet.
How big was this section that?
Jody cut out a piece probably 4 to 6 feet. I mean, and that's just one big area in the bottom that he cut out. They cut out a couple of small ones in the shallow that are also cracked. It's just a small section. It wasn't anything huge that he did up there. So as soon as we come up with some more funding ideas, and we'll weigh out our options on which way everyone wants to proceed.
Anything else? Doug?
Question on the, I don't know what you call it, Board of Services / Board of Health / building. Update on anything that's going on there with the windows and replacements? I know there was talk.
That company's supposed to be getting back with us.
That's fine, I just,
On some estimates, line item stuff. and they
I'm
haven't
here
done
for
it
the
yet.
coroner's office on that part, because we're gonna possibly then, once we get some windows, do some rearranging and put the other cooler that we've been kind of holding on to get that put in, that we talked to the council about many moons ago, but now I'll switch gears. Sheriff's office, I'm on the lawn care side now, guys, sorry. The sheriff's office is really coming in, making some nice looking grass, the building right beside it that we mow doesn't look that well. Would you guys entertain a bid to get that sprayed off and get rid of the weeds and dandelions and stuff like that? Totally up to you. If you don't want to, that's fine, I just want everything to look nice. I mean, it's a county building and I think it should look nice. All right?
If we're gonna take one, we should take multiple.
Absolutely, yeah, that's fine, no problem. And we can. The other thing is on the courthouse itself, there are two, one pretty sizable stump that has been cut off from many years ago. Can I give you an estimate to get that cut out of there? It's just something you have to mow around, and if you don't see it, it catches the motor deck, et cetera. There's no reason for it to stay there. I'd like to get it out of the courthouse.
Where they at?
Over in this corner. I don't know what kind of tree it was. It's a stump about that big. Then there's another small stump that's about that big that I'd like to get rid of. Because it's not doing anything except something to mow around, something to have to trim around, and you might as well have decent grass growing there. My opinion on it. We're not talking a lot of money. It's just, I want to get, before I just do the thing, I want you guys to say it's all right, and then I'll put some grass seed and stuff back down. I will get that quoted out.
Maureen, you got something?
Just an update on our office, wanted to let you know that Form 11s for our office for next year's tax assessments went out on Friday. People will be getting them, they may get them Saturday, they may have gotten them. But they will be coming out. Again, it is due to sales, they are going up. So you may be getting calls, but please just have them call our office if they have any questions, concerns, we can go over all of that with them.
Thank you.
One more thing on the pool I forgot to mention, we did, Deanna Burkhardt and Bill Metz and Jody and I did travel to Frankfurt last week to view or see their new pool that they are going to be opening on Memorial Day weekend. It was a $10 million project as well. They did replace their existing pool, start from scratch on using the same site, similar to what we have proposed for our pool if funding does become available. But it was our first opportunity to actually talk with a contractor. We've always dealt with a designer or a pool company, but the tour was given to us by the people that were actually putting in their pool. It's very similar to what we had in mind, what we wanted to do. So we do have more contacts, and we're looking into some other pricing and other options, so we'll have different things to look at.
Okay, thanks, Teresa. Finished up?
One thing, when I went and kind of did my introductory tour within the courthouse, I noticed some offices had paint peeling, chips coming off the walls, some disrepair. So I've asked the department heads to kind of send me those things for each department, so we can look at trying to get some of that stuff updated. I think the treasurer's office recently had theirs done, but 4D upstairs and that, I don't know what's going on with the brick or whatever behind it, but there's lots of stuff down there, even in their waiting area, the walls starting to chip off the wall, so. I've started talking to people about kind of a wish list of some maintenance stuff so we can start projecting that in the future. I also started talking, the sheriff and I started talking about firearms policy, active shooter type things, and there's been some concerns from different offices about shelter in place rules for active shooters and how to lock those doors. So I'm starting to work on some ideas and ways to facilitate those rooms, get those doors locked and secured from the inside. Just getting started into those areas, trying to solve some of those hopeful never problems, but coming up with some policies and some different ways to address that stuff. Just something I
I don't have anything else.
Motion to recess.
I'll make that motion.
We are recessed.